Happy Friday. So, doing this imperfectly because I've got leaf blowers and things, I've got cats, I've got noise, I've got imperfect lighting, but I have some thoughts. Someone asked me a question publicly recently, and I assure you it's because of what I do and what I talk about. And so I answered them publicly and looked at the rest of what others had to say. So my perspective was from the intuitive, metaphysical, spiritual side of things. And the majority of other responses were humorous, sarcastic, etc., which we all know I can serve that as well, but that's a whole other topic. And this isn't a shaming thing or a judgment thing for how other people responded. What it is an invitation or an inquiry for yourself to consider who you spend your time with and who you surround yourself with. And so how did that spur from this particular exchange that I witnessed, and then, going into the comments, the place where none of us should go. There's your freebie Friday mental health tip. But it got me thinking about how we may have an opinion, or we may have a thought about something, or we may have a reaction to something. And if we share that with the people we typically spend time with, and it's the opposite of our experience, of our opinion or our witnessing or whatever the case may be, the situation doesn't lend itself to be very growth oriented, or I'll just say growth oriented. And so my question for you today is, if there have been changes that you've been wanting to make in your life and you haven't changed up your environment, the people you're around, the information that you consume, the situations you put yourself into, that can be supportive to the change that you're wanting to make, how successful do you think you're going to be? And I say this because there are so many instances and examples that we could sit here and talk about literally until the end of days on how someone has perhaps tried to make a change or tried to embark on a new adventure or just do something outside the norm of what they've been doing. And the people around them most often don't support it. They laugh at it. They poke fun at it. They say, well, that will never last, that sort of thing. And I want you to realize that this is a projection of them onto you. This is a projection of their fears onto you. And that's not helpful, right? And so back in the day, working with folks in recovery, one of the things that we had to really talk to people about was having them recognize that they were going to have to probably rearrange their entire life, because it didn't matter that they were getting sober. The people they were around may not be. Their family environment may not change. Their work environment may not change. And so you are now changing you as the individual, the dynamic of who you are and how you're showing up in the world. But you're still putting yourself in the same situations. And at least for the first year, we would suggest to people to be prepared to do a lot of introspection and spend a lot of time reflecting and being around people who could be supportive. And so over time, this would then spill out in my work beyond that one example, but into the example of personal development, spiritual expansion, any kind of growth work that we're doing. And it's because we have to recognize that parts of ourselves need to be released in order for us to take on new ways of being and new beliefs. And if we don't make room in our lives to release the beliefs that no longer serve us, we will have a hard time taking in the new information and being with the new information. So if you're on a path of trying to improve things or change things, or you want to do something new because what you're doing just doesn't resonate for you anymore, one of the things you probably have to consider is who is around you, who is in your corner, who is at your back, who is going to walk with you side by side, and who is on a parallel journey that you can connect with and share with. It isn't about abandoning people. It's about choosing yourself and being able to become the version of yourself that you want to be. And we have to be ready to make changes in a variety of areas in order for us to have that success, I think, and that continued drive to keep doing what we're doing, because it is so easy to fall back into old habits and be around people who, it's just easier to do it this way. Why put in effort and energy when I can just keep doing what I'm doing and just, go along to get along? Anyway, just some Friday thoughts for you. Would love to know what you think. Does it resonate? Does it not resonate? Are there some changes that you're wanting to make? I'm curious. Let me know.